What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 34 of the pod. And man, do we have an absolutely insane episode for you guys today, man. This one is jam-packed to the brim with mostly NFL stuff, surprisingly. We have a couple NBA stories. Like one NBA story kind of mixed in here. But, a bunch of NFL. The NFL news has been going crazy. A lot of quarterback talk. And rebuild talk, whatever. My name is Emmit Douglas, coming to you from Blindside Studios. Give me on Twitter, Emmitnosee04. Follow the show on Twitter at BlindsidePod11 if you want to stay in touch with the episodes. Blindside Sports 7 on Instagram, where I post all my clips. Or no, that's TikTok. Blindside Sports 00, where on Instagram, Blindside Sports 7 on TikTok. If you want to see highlights of the show, that's where I post some of the interesting clips and all of that. Now, I hope you guys are doing good today, man. And I was gonna do an episode strictly talking about the Russell Wilson trade, but I'm glad I didn't, because so many stories, guys, have broke in the past since like Russell Wilson. We had like the whole thing of Aaron Rodgers, then Russell Wilson. Like it's been crazy NFL wise. And I thought I was gonna be leading with Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, one of those. But something dropped 3 hours ago as I was recording this, and I had to talk about it. And it's Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady has been retired 40 days, guys. 40 days. And our guy, Tom Brady, decides to put out a statement reading, for the past 2 months, I've realized there's unfinished business on the field. So he's coming back from the NFL, and he ends it off with LFG. Now, there's been a lot of I've been kind of thinking about this for a couple of hours. Why is Brady retiring exactly? Like, what's he doing? What's happening? And I have a couple theories on this. First of all, I'm gonna break down this taking care of business thing for you guys. I thought when this story dropped after the Rams loss of him saying, okay, I could be retiring, I said it on this show. I said it all over the place. I didn't buy that Tom Brady was retiring because he's so close to that 45 age, number 45. He'll be 45 on August 3rd. And I'm like, there's no way he's not going to do that, right? Like, he's so close, but no so good to 45 years old. So I'm like, well, we'll see what happens. And I was just like, he's not retiring. I wasn't buying it. Because I'm like, he's been saying this whole time, oh, I want to play to 45. Oh, I want to be that guy. Why retire 1 year close? And then the whole story of, oh, he wants his wife and his family, that kind of broke. And then you're like, oh, all right, cool, weird. Maybe maybe something, maybe, he decided he doesn't want to do this. And then this whole Adam Schefter thing broke. And it turns out at the time the report was false. A couple days later, we get the official statement from Tom Brady, basically saying, after 22 years, I'm calling it quits. Thanks to all my teammates, thanks to everyone. Really heartfelt really heartfelt thank you message. So that's when you're like, weird. Tom Brady, weird. This is interesting, right? So I'm like, all right, man, he has to be done. We're all celebrating the greatness of Tom Brady's career, right? It was like a retirement party, and the headlines. Oh, did they stop? Tom Brady stop. It was like LeBron with Tom Brady. There was headlines every freaking day about Tom Brady, and a lot of us were excited to see it go, right? And Tom Brady's name was not brought up maybe once besides MVP for the MVP, consideration when he didn't win it for 41 days, 40 days. It wasn't a mainstream story in sports headline until today at around 4:15 p.m. when I was listening to Dan Beyer and Aaron Torres on Fox Sports Radio. And I was listening because I'm not a March Madness guy. So I had Aaron, Aaron Torres, future guest, maybe if I can get him, kind of break it down. I was listening to the bracket show, and our guy Ralph, the update guy, Ralph Irvin, comes in with breaking news. I didn't believe this. The first thing he said, well, Tom Brady's retired or he's unretiring. I'm like, okay, no way, right? So I kind of go check Twitter and I'm like, oh my God, this is actually true. What? I'm like, man, okay. So the main question we have is why is Tom Brady exactly coming out of retirement? First of all, I got a couple things on this. I think the main reason is he kind of realized, dude, I'm so close to being 45 years old, man. I'm so close. So why not come out of retirement? I've said this for a long time. I want to be that quarterback who plays till I am 45. And the thing is, it's not like Tom Brady was regressing and all. Like last season, he had one of his better statistic seasons, and he was going off, right? Like so, it was kind of at a shock that the reason why Tom Brady is retiring, and it, I'm just like, okay, Brady's gone, and the 45 thing. I never understood why he left, to be fair. Like family was a good reason, but I think Tom Brady, he'd try and stick it out another year. Like okay, maybe. And that's kind of where you hear the opinion of, did Adam Schefter and the other guy, can't remember his name, but whoever reported it, did they kind of rush everything to get Tom Brady to retire? You have to wonder, right? Because it was, what I did say, though, was Tom Brady was going to make a decision on a dead week like the Pro Bowl week. And that's what he did. Kind of the in-between. Tom Brady, on like a Tuesday, Tom Brady comes out and he's like, I'm done. And the more funny conspiracy I have, the other thing is the NFC is just, it's nothing compared to the AFC. So Brady's like, realistically thinking, man, I have it pretty easy. I have it really easy. So Tom Brady's like, why not come back? Why not come back? And my favorite that I've thought of is two teams that are rumored in the Deshaun Watson saga. More on that later. The Saints and the Panthers are in the same division the Buccaneers would be. Tom Brady was like, nope. This is my division. I'm still coming back. Because in that Buccaneers team, I mean, they do have some offensive line issues. We will say that you lose Ollie Marpet to retirement. Franchise tag Chris Godwin. You got Gronk. So I think, and Brady's just thinking, like, who do we have in the NFC? We have the Rams for sure, right? Packers. They just don't do anything in the postseason. Cardinals. Okay, yeah, whatever. Who knows with them? They're a really weird team. And that's kind of it. Who knows what's going to happen with the 49ers? Where's Jimmy G going to go? Is Jimmy G going to be there? Is Trey Lance going to be in? So I think Tom Brady was just thinking, like, man, this AFC is just so easy. Like, this NFC, or sorry, this NFC is so easy. This NFC, like, he's thinking at this point, no free agency, no, none of that. The number one team is the Rams. And Brady's thinking, I came close to beating him last year. Why not? Why not come back? I could probably win this thing. I could probably win. And obviously this is literally March 13th as I'm recording this. There could be shockers. But the NFC at this point is basically the Rams. It is the Rams' house. Packers are there too, Rams and Packers, but I just can't buy the Packers in the postseason. They had such an easy opportunity against San Francisco this year, and they absolutely gagged it away. The Niners were lucky to even get to the NFC Championship. Like, even though they had a really cool roster, really good team, they were real lucky. And yeah, Tom Brady. I know you guys have thought the Tom Brady era is over. A lot of you Tom Brady haters, and I gotta say, you guys may think I'm a Tom Brady hater. He's just funny to roast, man. He's just great to roast. And I just had to. I just had to come in on that. Blindside Sports, Emmett Douglas with you. I just want to say, thank you for supporting the show, man. I really do. Now, probably the second biggest story, at least for me, because I'm a little biased, is this whole Russell Wilson thing. Now, I kind of had my Russell Wilson rant a couple weeks ago with VJ Vanilla Husky, and don't get me started. I'm gonna give you guys the play-by-play of what happened when I found out about the Russell Wilson trade, man. Now, you guys are like, why? How this? And because I was kind of all talk and I was kind of over Russ's crap, but I just didn't expect it to happen. And I was in school on Tuesday, right? And I get a tweet. I get mentioned from VJ Husky, friend of the show, saying, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Did I like tweet something? Like what?" So and I'm like, "Yeah, LOL." And then I kind of put two and two together. I'm like, let me look at notifications. Something had to have happened because I was in school, right? So like I just got back from talking to the boys at lunch. I wasn't checking my phone, and I look at my notifications. Lo and behold, I go down and I see one from the NFL app. Russell Wilson has been traded to the Broncos for Drew Lock, Shelby Harris, Noah Fant, 2 firsts, and what it was. Yeah, that's what happened. And I was like, look, you know, I'm not gonna lie, like I didn't expect me to be this mad or sad or just like when you like a team. I just didn't expect that to happen to me. But since I've been a diehard Seahawks fan in 2012, that was right when Russell Wilson came out. So it kind of did hit me, and I'm like, whoa, this guy who I've been supporting my whole life, and then I just started to rip on him. He's gone, man. He's gone. And then the Seahawks cut Bobby Wagner like 5 hours later, and then all these rumors around the Seahawks was just like, oh, come on. So I'm gonna break down both sides of the trade. First, for Denver, you get Russell Wilson, who is a great quarterback. I'm not gonna argue that, right? You get I believe we gave you a 5th round pick as well. So you guys get your guy in the future. You had to give up Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby. You can give up like whatever, like Noah Fant. He was dang good, but it's fine, right? Like you guys get your quarterback of the foreseeable future. Now the question that we're all asking is, what does this mean for the Broncos? What does this mean for the AFC West? Right? I like the trade for the Broncos, but this division, man, is just so incredibly stacked that I could not see Russell Wilson dominating on this division, right? I could not see Russell Wilson winning this division. Justin Herbert, twice a year. Chargers are getting weapons. Just trade for Khalil Mack the other day. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. You know how the Chiefs are. You got to play that. You have to play that twice a year. So that is at least 4 games that is going to have you running for your money, right? No, I know the Broncos were close last year. I know. I get it. And I was hype on them. But this just doesn't. I just can't buy into it with like a full season with Russell Wilson and Vic Fangio, the defensive master. He was good at defense, but not at offense. And Nathaniel Hackett's a first-time head coach. And Derek Carr isn't no slouch. Obviously, I don't think I don't think the Broncos are going to win the division. I don't think they're going to be last either. I think it's going to be a very close run, really challenging for the Broncos and Russell Wilson. And we had that one year where it looked like the NFC West was the most challenging division of the year. I'd almost argue it got easier. Or it has potential to get easier with like if the Niners on for Jimmy G, who knows what's all going to happen with that. So I just think for Russell Wilson and the Broncos, man, it's just going to be really hard fought battles. Maybe, and I do think Russell's still going to have a good season. It's going to be close games. That just having those division opponents is just going to be super hard, super hard, man. And I just don't think it's going to be successful. Now, I am the kiss of death. Like I could be completely wrong. they could go like 14-3 or something, but I just don't think that that the Broncos are gonna do it with the Chargers and the Chiefs and the Chargers. Man, they're still making moves. They just extended Mike Williams. I mean, they picked up Khalil Mack for a second and a sixth from the Bears. J.C. Jackson is rumored to go to the Chargers in free agency, pending other moves. And I'm sure the Chiefs are going to do some other things too, because they know this division is challenging, right? And if you're the Raiders, I think you just accept it's going to be rough. But I could see the Raiders going after moves because they have a good roster. We saw they made the playoffs last year. They were better than the Chargers, but with every year, Justin Herbert gets better and that Chargers team gets better. So I just don't think that you could have the Raider or the Broncos win division. Now let's go over to the Seahawks side of things. Before I get into the Seahawks side of things, actually, I want to say this. Something that a lot of people didn't understand, and I kind of didn't understand it too, but if I were the Seahawks, I'd be pushing for Russ to go to the Commanders. They were literally giving away their life and soul for this. They were literally going in. Man, they were like, oh, we'll give you this. I'm like, bro, you guys are overselling the crap out of yourself. Like, the Commanders are so dead. We're going to get into that later in the episode. Commanders and their quarterback hunt, because, man, what a weird haul. And, I'm like, oh, they're the, come on, Seahawks, you should have convinced Russ to go to DC. But the thing is obviously this trade was coordinated by Russ and the front office. He wanted to go to Denver because a lot of people don't think about this. I don't know why, but Russ had a no trade clause. So, like, if Russ, obviously the reason that trade got accepted, maybe the Seahawks are going to take it, and they probably would have taken it in that Commanders trade. I'm sure there's other ones that were better, is that Russ probably didn't want to go to the Commanders, right? Russ was like, I want to go to Denver, man. Yeah. So that's just one thing to put your to wrap your mind around. And the other thing I want to mention too with this whole thing is that, like, Russell Wilson, he is just, man, like, yeah. I completely kind of blanked on what I was gonna say there. Hold on. But let's go over the Seahawks side of things. And Drew Lock, man, I have nothing against you, but I hope to God you're not our starting quarterback for week 1 of 2022. And it looks like that you will be, and I'm very mad about it, right? We saw what Drew Lock did in Denver. The Broncos fans, they know what the Seahawks are going to go through with this pain, man. They know. So, and the thing is, for the Seahawks, is they're either close to a rebuild or close to a flipping, just kind of, okay, we signed a couple guys and, we could be back in the hunt. They're closer than we think, right? You got 2 firsts coming up. You don't have your first this year. Unfortunately, it goes to the Jets. But you have a pretty good pick this year. Thanks, Denver. Thank you. You have first next year, and you have no Russ, no Bobby contracts. That cap opens up, right? So you're, free agency is pretty big this year. Maybe you sign a couple big names. Maybe you trade for like a quarterback. And someone I've been really high on for the Seahawks is Gardner Minshew. Now, we saw the Minshew mania is a thing, and when he was in Jacksonville, kind of misplayed. All right, when he filled in for Jalen Hurts that one terrific game, he was balling, and it was against the Cardinals, who had a pretty solid defense, I must say, as well. If we can, now I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Gardner Minshew, oh, he's not very good, man. Bring him back to Washington State Cougar alumni, Gardner Minshew, right? I would be so down. You pair Gardner Minshew, Noah Fant, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Rashad Penny with a bunch of question marks there. I can't buy Rashad Penny. All of this, right? And you go after that, suddenly there's a chance that the Seahawks could do something, man. And Gardner, he's not going to cost you that much money, not going to cost you that much value, and you still have Drew Lock just in case something goes sideways. So Gardner, you sign a couple guys on defense, you draft a stud this year, or maybe you focus on the offensive line for Gardner to have as good as possible, and you're set. right? You have a good push for it. But also, we have to look at it this way. And this is one thing, this trade for me, or what the Seahawks are going to be like next year, is all just, I'm not going to predict it because it's literally time will tell. We'll know in the next couple days as free agency starts to happen or throughout the next coming weeks. And that thing is the Seahawks, if something doesn't happen, if they don't do anything, they decide to rebuild, maybe we do move on from Tyler. Maybe we do move on from DK. I'd hate it, but it's possible. Get a bunch of picks, kind of like the Miami Dolphins style, have all these firsts, all this money, and draft some interesting characters. And then the Seahawks, who knows what's going to happen, right? But I just think they're really close to a rebuild, or they're really close to just filling a couple holes. Right, you cleared up so much cap without Russell Wilson, without Bobby Wagner, and you still have Jamal Adams, you still have Tyler and DK. You picked up Shelby Harris, you picked up Noah Fant. You have like a good pick. You have a couple firsts. You have Rashad Penny. I either think we're clearing house, man, or we're gonna go for it. And a couple guys I could see, like a JC Jackson would be cool. There's a lot of guys, right? If I think it's gonna be kind of offensive line, and the thing is, offensive line, and I say this is, having like a big name like a Corey Linsley, like a Quentin Nelson, like a Leo Collins who's available in trade, like a, I don't know, like Zach Martin, like a Brandon Scherf, something like that. Like one of those big names is, they're good, but there's a lot of underrated serviceable linemen for a lot cheaper of a price. I think you have to have like one or two big name like Nelson's or someone like that to have a great line. But you can go on like those good players who aren't going to cost you money, and you'll be completely fine. So for this trade, I do, and I kind of got on topic there, but before I kind of dive back into this trade, we're going to dive into it later. And is just Deshaun Watson to the Seahawks. Now, look, Deshaun Watson is criminally cleared. No criminal charges, but like we still have these civil cases going, and there's a bunch of uncertainty behind. I know we're gonna dive into Deshaun Watson a couple times throughout this episode, but there's some uncertainty behind where he's gonna do things, right? Like what's gonna happen, all of this, right? So I just don't, like I don't know how I feel about it on the Seahawks, if I'm being completely honest with you. And we're gonna kind of dive into it more later. I just don't know how I feel, like the uncertainty if he could face a suspension from Roger Goodell in the NFL. He's obviously gonna get another shot. That is clear as day. The NFL doesn't care, right? Yeah, the guy, let's be real, he's kind of he is a POS, but that doesn't matter for the NFL. As long as you're criminally good, you're fine. You are fine. It's the same thing with Trevor Bauer in MLB. He's gonna be somewhere, right? He is gonna be somewhere, whether you like it or not. I mean, it is kind of sad. All this. But back on the Russell Wilson trade, you get Drew Lock, who isn't very good. You get Noah Fant, who's a good pass catcher. We get a weapon at tight end. He can do some damage. You get Shelby Harris, who's going to do some damage. You get two firsts. I mean, I think I would have rather had another pick besides Drew Lock, to be completely honest with you. But the Seahawks, no, we need to do something at quarterbacks. Like, I guess it's okay. I'm dogging on Drew Lock way too hard. So those are my thoughts on the Russell Wilson trade. Emmett Douglas here on Blindside Sports. We've been going at it for 25 minutes and counting, man. Get me on Twitter, Emmitnosee04, the show Blindside Pod 11, Instagram Blindside Sports 00, TikTok Blindside Sports 7. Follow me personally, Emmitnosee. A lot of social media handles there, but cool. Why don't we dive into? I said desperate QB surge, but we're gonna do that because I hinted at last segment. How about our guy Carson Wentz going to the Washington Commanders? Now, all I gotta say is, what a horrible trade! What a horrible trade! This just shows pure desperate, pure just god awfulness. Horrible. And they went for plan A, plan B, plan C, all of this to pick up Carson Wentz, right? I do not think Carson Wentz is going to be good for the Commanders, right? Now we'll say this, but I defended the crap out of Carson Wentz when he went to Indianapolis, when he went to the Colts, right? I defended the absolute crap out of him before I started the podcast. Twitter, FSR, I defended it. I defended the move. I said he just needs a restart. And I'll be completely honest. He was good most of the year. But when you need Carson Wentz to clutch up, he simply choked at a time he couldn't choke. And that Colts roster, you have JT drop the you have like that great run team, that great defense. And to me, that the Washington team isn't as good as that Colts team, man. And that's just for real. So I just don't see this whole thing working out. And the funniest thing about this whole thing, right? And Carson Wentz, I view this have I? But he's like that car that's really reliable getting you around town. But man, once you take it on the highway, once you need him for that road trip, oh man, he just isn't gonna work. He's just not there, man. He's donezo, bro. Like he chokes at a time he can't choke, right? That's when Carson, or it's like when not good, right? I trust, and I was a Carson Wentz defender. I was like, okay, this guy just needs like we saw him at his best in Philadelphia, right? We saw what he could do there. And unfortunately, it just didn't work. And Frank Reich, interesting name there, was dead. He was ripping Carson Wentz. It was bad. And for the Colts, man, obviously I feel like that couldn't help from moving on from you guys were so close to making that playoff, the playoffs, and well, Carson Wentz fumbled the bag, right? Like you guys should not have lost by how embarrassing. Like it was so embarrassing, that game against the Jaguars week 18. I almost said week 17, but we got 18 now. We moved on to bigger, better things here in the NFL. It was such an embarrassing loss that you're like, well, maybe we have to move on from Carson Wentz, right? I think the Colts expected Carson Wentz to bring him to the playoffs, right? And the thing is for the Colts is, where do you go for QB? Do you draft a guy? Do you use Ellinger or whatever? Or, do you go for a Jimmy G? I think that is your safest bet. If you can convince the Niners to move on, you go after Jimmy G. Maybe you go after Deshaun Watson, pair Deshaun Watson with JT. I don't know. And, the Colts, it sucks to see, man, because they are really close. They have Jonathan freaking Taylor. We saw what that guy did. I just don't like, I love him. He's a great player. I just don't want to see his talent wasted over quarterbacks. You can even get an average guy that's like a little better than Carson Wentz. Like maybe they go after Jameis, and it'll be fine because that team is just really solid. Really solid. I was hoping maybe Kirk Cousins. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen. He just signed his 1-year extension with the Vikings. So what are you going to do if you're the Colts, right? There's a big open at quarterback, and I think it goes to Jimmy G. If the Niners you can get rid of Jimmy G and they're convinced they do that, that's it. It's Jimmy G or Jameis. Or maybe you start Ellinger. Or Ellinger, is that the right guy? Yeah, is it Ellinger? I think so, man. It might be I think it wasn't out. Yeah, it was. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Carson Wentz trade. Emmit Douglas here on Blindside Sports. Now, why don't we dive into something? Let's take a turn away from the NFL very briefly. And I believe it was Monday, Russell Westbrook was complaining about how this West Brick nickname was bad for his family, right? And people were, he's gotten all these threats on social media. First of all, let me say, if you were threatening a guy on social media, an NBA player, telling him all these horrible things, stop it. Stop it, please. You're stupid. But like West Brick to me is okay, fine. West Brick, ha ha ha. Building a house. I feel like when you sign up for a sport of basketball, that's just what's gonna happen. And there's not much to say besides that. Like Westbrook. I mean, come on, dude. Like you sign up for a sport of basketball, you're in the NBA, you're like a public figure. People are gonna hate, and as long as it's not like racist or homophobic or vulgar or anything like that, man. Fans, say what you want to say about the player. Lakers fans, I think the blame on Westbrook is, he got put in this situation of not success, but he still bricks a lot. Like it's a valid nickname, my guy. It really is West Brick, brick. But you just hate to see that. Oh, what happens? But like, yeah, it's not the West Brick. Haha, your kids, they're fine, man. Like as long, but like I said, if you're telling him to like kill himself or his family should die on social media, you're the issue, bro. Come on. Like that's uncalled for. That's unacceptable. That you should not be doing that. And I come on. I get it. But yeah. How about this other insane note in the NBA? Now, I've currently, as we're recording the show, getting into it with somebody on Twitter about all this. And it's that Kyrie Irving can be courtside at his own, game, his home game, maskless, but he can't play in it. Are you serious, man? I get employees have different mandates, but like, come on. He's a fan in a crowd of multiple people. Let the guy play. Like, really? I get I take COVID pretty, seriously. Like I got the vax, all of that, got boosted, whatever. But come on, dude. This is just like he could show up to a game, right? Be right near his teammates, but he can't go on the dang court. And I feel like at this point, the NBA, they've erased all of the COVID protocols. Or no, they haven't. Sorry. But I just don't think like people are starting to like it's a 5-day, whatever. I get businesses have different protocols. I get that for workers. It's just crazy to me. It's like you're literally so close to your people. It's just funny to me. That's all that I guess that's my point with this. And we're gonna dive back into NFL here. Where do we want to go next? We have a lot to get to. Emmett Douglas here on Blindside Sports, coming to you from the Blindside Studios. Now, we've dived into Russell Wilson. Tom Brady kind of came back and added some topics to my show. So thank you, Tommy TB12. Oh man, we're gonna get into that. Oh, so funny. So Emmett Douglas Blindside. I'm so convinced that the Cowboys are just insane. They literally traded freaking Amari Cooper for a 5th and a 6th to the Browns. Absolute steal, right? Absolute steal. Cleveland. Man, come on, Cowboys. Amari Cooper, I get what you want to do, but I feel like you could got more value for him. Cleveland, you guys just got the steal of century. You get a guy who's gonna be that number one option for you. Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, not that reliable, pal. You finally get Baker, that guy he deserves. I don't know what's gonna happen with Baker. I think when you have your full weapons back at Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, all of that next year, it's gonna be nasty for the Browns, man. It really is. So it's just like insane. So the Browns, man, they really pick it up, and like you get that guy in Amari Cooper who's your safe number one option, which opens up the door for Jarvis Landry to get out of there. And the Browns didn't have to give up much at all. They could still get a young guy in the draft. Maybe they go out. Maybe Allen Robinson comes to Cleveland. That'd be insane. Like this Browns roster, to me, this team is looking up. This team is fire. And, you know, Amari for a 5th and a 6th is just an absolute steal. Like I said this before. You have to, it's like, God, the Cowboys have done some absolutely dumb things, but this gotta be up at the top. No, not really, but I'm just really shocked that, it was kind of such a low ball offer for Amari Cooper, and Amari Cooper is still functional. He's still really good, one of the top guys in the league. So it's just crazy to me how you can pull off that much or that little for Amari. And the Browns, man, I'll give him that Odell Beckham. They really never like Jarvis Landry. He's not the Jarvis Juice Landry we used to know. You finally go out, you get that number one guy, and you have those 2 running backs, and you have that defense, right? That Browns defense is good. The Browns, they're one bad year with injuries, and because look, Baker Mayfield, say what I'll say about him, if you love him, whatever. I think he's a cool dude, but he's not like a Patrick Mahomes, or he's not like a TB12, but he needs guys, and clearly last year not having he is a system guy. He needs guys at full capacity. He needs Kareem Hunt. He needs Nick Chubb. He needs he's gonna need Amari Cooper next season. David Njoku, Austin Hooper when they're healthy. He needs those guys, right? He can't make freaking Tom Brady can make his weapons in New England. He can't do that. So this is exactly what the Browns need to do, where Jarvis Landry just isn't that anymore. And maybe they go after a couple more receivers. Maybe they go for the hat trick. And compete in this absolutely stacked, absolutely just insane AFC. Guys, this AFC is just wild. Hear me out. This AFC is wild. The Browns got an absolute steal for Amari Cooper. That's the point of this. Cowboys, what are you doing? Now, the next thing I want to get into, we're going to dive away from the NFL momentarily. Hold up. We're going to dive into the NFL momentarily once again, or out of the NFL momentarily once again. Boys, let's go. Baseball is back. Round of applause to the MLB for coming with a negotiation. Now, this is one of the weirdest but most interesting stories, right? I'll have more on MLB in a future episode of predictions and stuff like that, because we still got big free agency moves happening, like Freddie Freeman still undecided. I mean, Sonny Gray got picked up by it was the Cubs today. So we still got stuff happening. Those moves left and right, but the main thing here is MLB's back. And now this was one of the weirdest but most interesting things that we've had in a while, right? The MLB lockout, and it was cool. It was oh yeah, whatever, okay, fine. Until that last, maybe second to last weekend in February, when negotiations really started to heat up. I think it was right when spring training got canceled. Man, we were like, oh man, this is getting interesting, because look, going as 2022, so social media we are into the social media heavy in 2021 or 2022. Did I just say 2021? Oh my God. But we are into social media so heavy. And I just are we not recording? Hold on. Are we not on? Okay, good. But 2022 is so social media heavy, and seeing and it wasn't just your average Joe schmuck on the side of the road. It was these guys in media, man, these sports radio people these reporters. Like you had people saying, "Oh, expect games through May to be canceled. Oh, we might not have a season at all." And then someone else, "Be ready, next 24 hours, there's gonna be a deal." And I was like, I was just like, look, I really thought when the MLB, I believe it was February 28th going into March 1st, when they were there to like at least 3 a.m. Florida time, where they were at that stadium where they were doing the negotiations, I was like, there's no way they leave without a deal, right? You've put so much time and effort into it. It was just these, something the players liked, but the owners would pull some BS. And that was all it was. That was what it was for a while. This story got interesting. Then obviously games got canceled and the whole Rob Manfred, sorry, messed up on my words there, Manfred thing happened. God, that guy's so bad. I could do a whole Manfred rant, but I'm not going to do that. But not a good commissioner, man. I mean, this was horrible. Like all these negotiations between the players and the owners were just absolutely garbage. And then it started to heat back up again. They're starting to like things, like they kind of took a little break. And then, okay, look, now we're talking. Now we're talking with the deal. It finally got imposed Thursday. All it has been resolved. I'm super happy. Now I got 12 teams in the playoffs. That's weird to see because MLB was a team that really they weren't down for a lot of teams in the playoffs, but 12 teams, man. Interesting. Very interesting. Interesting stuff for the MLB. I mean, it's kind of weird to see like the NBA has like 20 teams in the playoffs. The MLB is like 12. Crazy. Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports. Now, Draymond Green is set to make his return in the lineup tomorrow. And the Warriors, they had a thrilling victory over the Bucks on Saturday night. But with Chris Paul out as the Suns are freaking mollywhopping the Lakers as we're recording this. But like, this is a chance for the Warriors. I mean, you got Steph, Clay, and Draymond Green back on the court with like Andrew Wiggins. Like this team is balling. The team is stacked. Draymond Green finally come back from injury, and that's what Draymond Green is what really held him down for a while. So this is kind of the chance for the Warriors to kind of get on a streak. And I gotta say, this is like the first time Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry have played together all on the same court in like 3 years. Like I think last time Steph, Clay, and Draymond played together was when freaking KD was there. That's how long ago that was. And so like June of 2019, they're gonna be back. That Warriors team's gonna be scary. You got Draymond Green playing that defense. You got Steph and Clay shooting that ball. You don't got like KD anymore, but you got other weapons, right? You got Andrew Wiggins, who's not KD, but he's dang good. You've got Jonathan Kuminga, who's good. You get Jordan Poole, who's good, right? And Draymond Green playing that defense. That Warriors team is very scary. Coming with the return of Draymond Green, man. Be prepared because the Warriors are gonna be going insane. The Warriors are gonna be insane. Why don't we move over to Deshaun Watson? And obviously Friday we get the notification that Deshaun Watson is not facing any criminal charges. So that's definitely good. Who knows? I don't want to say good news. I mean, the guy is 23, 24, 25 women in the massage room. They're really weird stuff. But I got to say, all these closeted Deshaun Watson defenders, too, before I hop into my analysis on this, all these closeted defenders, man, on Twitter, Instagram, all these socials just came out in force on Friday. And they were so quiet until, like, literally Friday. Like, fools were changing their opinion. Like, we had guys said, the funniest one I saw was almost like, who needs, like, 25 massage therapists? And that's at least. Keep in mind, we had women say, oh, Deshaun was fine. He didn't do anything bad. And there was a handful of those, too. So it's like, who needs this many massage therapists? And the guy's like, a guy needs his body right. Or the athletes are very particular. I don't think so. But, like, why will say what I'll say about Deshaun Watson. And it's like, okay, yeah, what we did was horrible. And I don't condone it at all. Doesn't stop me from covering it. And it doesn't stop me from realizing the honest truth of the matter. And that honest truth of the matter is you could be a douche. You could do horrible things in the NFL, right? You obviously, like Deshaun Watson was weird in the massage room, right? I mean, you could you could do all of this, but like a lot of, especially for quarterbacks, right? They don't care. Team, like we had Kareem Hunt beat his wife, proving guilt, or well, it wasn't his wife, but beat up a woman in a hotel room. And the NFL were like, oh, he's free from charges, no care. He run ball good. Bring him on. Cleveland. And it's not like I'm all for, second chances are cool and everything. But like you just gotta realize that that's at the NFL. And I've seen a lot of stuff saying that, like, oh man, it's just we should never, like he's like, come on, he shouldn't play it. But it's like, man, the NFL doesn't give two what's about that, right? The NFL does not care, bro. They do not. And I think it does. So I think some more light should be put into what, what Deshaun Watson did was absolutely horrible. It was criminally innocent. He didn't want criminal charges, but still, you have to realize that this is just how it works, right? Like just because he's not a criminal or whatever doesn't mean that he didn't do anything. Because there's 23 women and only a handful of them decided to press criminally, right? Only a handful decided to press criminally. So like that's kind of the spew of it. And my other thing too, and we're enough on like that topic, because I don't like to get like too like political or real. Like I try to get real, but I don't like to get like crazy into that on the show. So it sucks to see, but that's just a sad reality of it. And that's how the NFL does their thing. And so I do think Deshaun Watson could be in another uniform. First off, let me say this. With the uncertainty of suspension and stuff, and he hasn't played a game in a year, and even his injuries, any team who give up 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson is absolutely insane. They are absolutely insane, right? 3 picks for Deshaun, bro? Come on, fool. No. You have no idea what's gonna happen. I don't know if he's gonna get punishment, right? But he hasn't played ball in a year. Come on. So the real question, where will I think Deshaun Watson will end up this season? Now I think the Texans are gonna, I feel like we're expecting a trade very, very soon. And he's going up to meet with the Saints and the Panthers coming up very, very soon. And I think the Saints or the Panthers would be a team he'd go to. Definitely. But, Seahawks, I just don't. Whatever. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I just don't really. Maybe the football team just dishes out a lot for Deshaun Watson. But the thing is, we have to realize is this is like the Russell Wilson thing. There is a clear no trade clause on that contract. So it's like, he gets shipped off to Washington. He basically gets to choose where he goes here. And he gets to deny that trade clause. He gets to deny his no trade clause and say, yeah, I want to go here. Send me, pack my bags, all of that. So there's a pretty good, pretty good sign of where like Deshaun Watson could go. And I think he could end up I feel like he's going to go most talent. And I don't think it's probably going to be the NFC because it's more open, right? You go to the Panthers, you got CMC, you got all that. You go to the States, you got Al Kamara. Michael Thomas. There's another Mike Thomas. That's why I kind of said that. All you have that. You have a good defense. You have a pretty solid O line too. So you go to the Saints, Seahawks. We'll break that down too. I mean, they got DK Metcalf, Ty Lockett. All right, defense. It could improve. He's on a big contract. So I don't know what the Seahawks are gonna do, but Vikings, that one got ruled out a while ago. The Eagles, they're not in consideration. Dolphins, I just don't see him going to the Dolphins. I mean, yeah, the Dolphins do have the assets to pick up Deshaun Watson. I just don't see it happening. And something is telling me, something in my gut is telling me that he's going to go try and compete against Tom Brady and either go the Saints or the Panthers. I mean, personally, it's probably going to be the Saints. Yeah, he's going to the Saints. And that's the most likely team. I'd probably put Panthers at close second. At a third, if he were to go to the AFC, I wouldn't be shocked if the Colts put in a bid for Deshaun Watson. I would not be shocked at all. You get your quarterback along with JT, Jonathan Taylor, and voila, there you go. You get your guy. So yeah, Deshaun Watson is back in the news. We should be seeing a trade from any time. I just see the report of Drew Lock likely to be starting at quarterback for the Seahawks is just that I just don't think going to the Hawks. Niners would be another. I just doubt it. You drafted Trey Lance. Colts is really the only team in the AFC, unless the Raiders get in the Deshaun Watson pool and make that division would literally be insane. I just don't see the Raiders doing anything and going after Deshaun Watson. The Steelers, I think didn't they take their name out of the Deshaun Watson suites? I don't know. It's a lot. But Emmett Douglas, Blindside Sports. Now, I want to wrap it up here with almost a rant. We got a couple more things to get into. Actually, no, we're going to dive into this Vikings rumor I saw on Twitter. Now, I saw a rumor, I believe from JPA Football on Twitter, that the Vikings are willing to listen to trade offers for the following, like Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, Michael Pierce, all that. I think the Vikings are trying to go in a new direction. We've seen what happened, and I think they realized that, like, with the uncertainty, like they just re-signed Kirk Cousins to a 1-year deal. So I think they realize that the uncertainty of Deshaun Watson, that they can't really go. They can't really go for a guy like that. Like they're gonna stick with Cousins for a year, but they're gonna start getting pieces in line. I could see it happening. I mean, you bring in Kevin O'Connell, you bring in a new GM. These rumors are bound to happen. Michael Pierce, he's getting older. Adam Thielen, he's old. You got Justin Jefferson. That is a focus of your team. Yeah, I get Dalvin Cook's a great running back, and if I were Seahawks, I'd go for him. I really would. But like, there's nothing wrong with kind of returning the dials a little bit when you have a new front office in. You got that new GM, and you got our guy Kevin O'Connell, Rams offensive coordinator, turned head coach for the Vikings, running the ship now. So, personally, I'd be completely down. Fire the Vikings and fire other teams, like all the guys are listening trade offers for. And the thing is, like, they've had these guys for a while and it's been no cigar. And you could, okay, Kirk Cousins for being extremely average. But there's like VJ Husky said on my show, there's nothing wrong with the reset. Say what you want to say. I know I was kind of biased with it for the Seahawks, but there's nothing wrong with it at all. And yeah, if you definitely the Vikings could be listening to offers, and I think you kind of have to, and it's kind of the right move, especially when you have like a whole new front office in. Like you have a new coach and a new GM. I keep saying new front office. Next year maybe you got to push for a quarterback, right? That's not Kirk Cousins, because I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to be that guy forever. I'm actually surprised Kirk Cousins signed that 1-year deal. I'm really shocked. Like I kind of, if I were the Colts, I'd go after Kirk Cousins, man. I think he's a step up from Carson Wentz at this point, and I defended the crap out of Carson Wentz, and I've ripped Kirk Cousins all the time on the show. But the Vikings, man, it's fine to like, hey man, Adam Thielen's an older receiver. Train to a contender. Maybe train to the Bucks. Maybe trade him to like, I don't know, like the like a maybe train to like the Rams, something like that. Maybe dude, imagine Robert Woods and Adam Thielen and Cooper Kupp. Maybe that happens. Clearly, the Rams don't care about draft picks, and you get a third receiver. That's because Odell Beckham, who knows what's going to happen? He just tore his ACL for God's sake. So I definitely think that there's definitely going to be some interesting things to happen here. Stay tuned for the Vikings, man. I buy into that rumor kind of heavily. Now I'm going to end this on a story where a guy who's kind of man, this guy's kind of an attention getter. My guy Aaron Rodgers, not my guy. I don't really like him, but Aaron Rodgers, God, how, dude, you have manipulated the absolute bejesus out of everyone. That, Russell Wilson had mixed signs. I think Aaron Rodgers had mixed signs, but there's times where you're just like mad at the Packers, like after the play, it's like, oh, we'll see how our future goes in Green Bay. And then he's like, all these signs. And last offseason, he was like traveling the world, like doing Jeopardy, like really thinking his line could be. And then like, I think, I like with Aaron Rodgers, like it was like, okay, maybe he's gonna stay 1 to 2 more years, whatever. But now he signs this huge extension he's gonna sign this huge extension with the Packers, where he's locked up for a while now. And what I will say about the Packers is they're kind of in a messy situation. You had to franchise tag Davante Adams. Like your cap space is not good. Like you guys are not in the best situation, one of the best situations. You guys are not. Man, it's rough hours over there in Green Bay, like for real. Like say what you want to say, but man, like it's kind of rough. You had to franchise tag Davante Adams, Aaron Rodgers' boy, and I think they're kind of like, oh, if Davante's here to stay, if Aaron Rodgers is here to stay, and he's not going to get angry unless Aaron Rodgers gets angry, and that's kind of how it's shown. And Aaron Rodgers, like, look, like, I think he was kind of thinking, he's like, where do I want to go? And then the Packers, I said this a while ago on Twitter. I think it was the day of the Super Bowl. Packers had an oh crap moment. They had a big one, right? They've realized they're trying to do the Aaron Rodgers situation 2.0, where they draft a good quarterback in the draft, right? And to replace the other guy, thinking Aaron Rodgers isn't that guy forever. Maybe you do the right thing. You draft Jordan Love. And then they're like, okay, maybe he's not our guy. And they kind of had the oh crap moment to where we need to do anything in our power to get Aaron Rodgers back. And I know I turned this rant. I was going to be an Aaron Rodgers rant, but I just had to say this. Because the Packers are in a predicament. And a lot of people are like, oh, should I feel bad for Jordan Love? The guy hasn't gotten a single opportunity. And from what the Packers have seen, they were like, we'd much rather have Aaron Rodgers. Maybe the Colts go after Jordan Love. Who knows? Because I think Aaron Rodgers, I think he's actually, he's going to stay in Green Bay. Because that's where, I think he realized, like, look, the Packers aren't going to trade me to an NFC team. And that AFC, even before the Russell Wilson move, was stacked enough. Right? That AFC was just crazy. And the Packers, they'd be dummies to trade him in the NFC. And I think Aaron Rodgers just wanted that easy competition. Like, it's much easier to stay in the NFC. You got the freaking Lions and the Bears, for God's sakes. The Vikings, that's your division. That's easily a number 2 seed right there, at least for the next couple of years. Number 2 seed in the NFC, maybe a number 1 seed. He has it going for him. He has his guy Davante Adams. He has Aaron Jones. He has AJ Dillon. Maybe they move on from one of them due to salary cap. they had to go say see ya to Zadarius Smith, and I think it was for cap reasons. So, to me, it's clear why Aaron Rodgers is staying, and it's clear that, like, look, this is a guy where I think some of a lot of these rumors, with the media are kind of hoop, like they're kind of bullpucky, but this one I think he was actually considering for a while, right? And it was so weird because he, when he posted that thing on Twitter talking about all the thank yous, like, is this guy done? And I said it. I was like, okay, there's a slight chance Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgersing and being a little off, right? He's kind of like Kyrie. He's a little different. And say what you want to say about it, but it's just facts. And, he did this cleanse. He was thanking everyone. Okay, maybe he's done. Maybe he's going to trade. He was never going to retire. If we're talking unfinished business, like Tom Brady was talking, Aaron Rodgers has unfinished business. He needs to win another Super Bowl, right? He's not even 40 yet. Aaron Rodgers has unfinished business. So it's pretty clear to me. Why did Aaron Rodgers stay in Green Bay? Because that AFC is way easier than the NFC, and the Packers are not trading into the NFC because that'll be plain and utter, like, that'll just be stupid. And the Packers on there, and they're going to do anything to sign Aaron Rodgers because they're desperate. They realize Jerome Love, okay, maybe we messed up. But then again, Jerome Love hasn't had time. And it's kind of like, if for a different team, it will be fine. But when you have Aaron freaking Rodgers, it's just how that goes. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Be sure to do all the numbers, like, share, comment, subscribe, download, turn on Noti, share with your friends. Word of mouth advertising is the best. Follow the show socials. Put them in description. Hope you guys are having a great day. And many episodes to come, man, because this is like, oh man, I hate to use this analogy because I saw it on TV earlier and I absolutely despised it, but it's the most wonderful time of the year. No, not really, but it's pretty not fun. Like, you got all these NFL things going on. You have, like NBA heating up, March Madness free agency, NBA, NHL, MLB starting to, like, it's crazy. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave a like on it. Do all that. Thank you for watching. Peace.